What is up, adventurers, and welcome to a brand new ShawnSetGO video. In this one, we're going to be talking about a topic that actually touches on Legion as well as Midnight Alpha, and a little bit of a disclaimer for those of you who don't know. I've never played Legion. I missed that time to play it, and I don't know why, but Legion Remix does not appeal to me. It's just not. Like, I don't know if it's the cosmetics thing or like, I don't know, the goofy scaling and like how high things can go just doesn't appeal to me exactly. Like the whole overpowered bit just feels like putting on a cheat, like on a game mode, and you just hit like the big numbers button. I don't know. I'm not going to knock anybody who tries it. It's not for me, unfortunately. And I think I'm going to focus on Midnight Alpha. But jumping into the topic, let's talk about the topic that combines a little bit of these two expansion / patch in the thing. So talking about allied races. Allied races are one of those things that I think hold a bit of contention, but this one says Ammani troll appearances in Midnight, allied race speculations. Now the comments, I mean, like the comments for the most part are like, hey, this seems like it would be a cool thing, but I think there's a balance between those two in that you see comments like this. This one says, I'd be happy with a new Ammani customization option, a body type 3 for bulky trolls. And I think that's actually, kind of what's happening here. Because if you look at the Wowhead article, it says customization reward Ammani appearance for Darkspear trolls. It raises the question, why doesn't, Tauren have the High Mountain Tauren appearance? Why doesn't the human have the Cold Tauren appearance? Why aren't these things just appearances? Because to me, allied races to me doesn't make sense to me. It's why not just call it factions, like sub factions, where it's like it's a sub clan, or it's like a different clan that's kind of like goes off to the side, like they're smaller, lesser known, or we discovered them later on and they're not part of the horde or alliance because they weren't involved in like those histories and those things didn't intersect, but now they do. Like to me that just logically makes a lot more sense. So appearances to me, that would work a lot better than the way it currently is. Now, you could say that WoW used to be largely defined by your racial passives and your racial talents as well. And that was significant to what class. And it is to a degree still a thing. It's not very big as far as like what it does entirely, but it's something, right? So I think allied races, my main issue is that there's maybe in reality 2 or so allied races that actually matter and aren't just like a additional appearance. But in this one, it shows it's Ammani troll speculation allied race. Please, Blizzard. All right, here's my speculation and dream, honestly, about what I think the Ammani trolls could definitely become a playable race later in Midnight. I believe they will likely become playable around mid or late expansion. For the Alliance counterpart, I can totally imagine it being the Naga, especially with Azshara return being teased for quite some time now. So a lot of speculation here. The main thing is, boys and girls, guys and gals, is that right now we are trying to build back our algorithm. It is a tough journey for us. So if you like this video, give it a watch, give it a full watch, give it a second watch, okay? I would appreciate it a lot. Second, make sure we're clicking those thumbnails, sharing it on the platforms, getting it to spaces that belong there. Help us get back into that algorithm for Midnight Alpha. Maybe someday we'll be lucky enough to jump into it. Back to the Ammani, the devs have recently updated the design after community feedback, even giving them larger, more distinct noses. So for those of you who don't know, when the Ammani were first profiles shown as being updated, a lot of people were saying they look like sort of Disneyified, or they kind of just look like orcs. And so I think people have interpreted those changes to be like, okay, we don't want people to dislike a new allied race, so let's put in something new for the players. Sure, new hairstyles as well, skin tones. Here's finally seeing the forest trolls get the recognition they deserve for over 20 years. 2007, almost 20 years, right? So, or maybe before, I suppose. Anyways, I would love for them to become playable, but unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen. If they're going to become playable, I don't think they make such a big deal about adding Ammani themed options to the Darkspear. So kind of re-cementing what we're seeing with the achievement, but kind of there's still people go, they did release a lot of allied races in BFA, but the expectations were different then too. Compare the number of options the Harroneer currently have to what the BFA allied races have. Harroneer might honestly have more options than all of them combined. So it kind of implementing an idea that possibly more options doesn't necessarily mean that there's no other allied race like possibilities that can happen. Maybe we can still expand upon or increase what allied races have as far as customization. And this comes up because it says this is really amazing, but it also makes the old races look even worse. It says, and then they're stuck with these stupid looking Night Elf male animations. I'm hoping and praying the Zandalari animations, it's the Zandalari animations instead. They use the same rigs, so it's possible, but Night Elf male snort the spell before you cast is likely going to be the one. What? Yeah, they're going to need another pass on races. I do hope we get like a big refresh on customization options and an overhaul to animations after the World Soul Saga. Feels like the right time for it with whatever comes after. Customization options aren't going to cut it. The old races need another WoD level refresh. The WoD models are older now, and the vanilla models were when they were redone in WoD. So this brings to my point and my suggestion, which is I think that there are a number of things that bringing in allied races first brought that were cool for the game and I think worked. I think that unfortunately with the most recent expansion, Earthen did not work. I do not think it had the same attention or interest. I'm sure if you look up a race graph, it would show Earthen pretty low on the standard. And I think Dracthyr pretty low on the standard too. But all things considered, I think that doesn't mean that it has to always be that way. I think there's very much opportunities to each expansion have small quest lines for your particular race that don't have to be very big, just like class quests used to be, and still have like value and interest or something there that is interesting every expansion. I don't think that's like too big of an ask. And I think it would do a lot to help people define identity within the game. I think that there's a lot of value that people place into their favorite race. And when it comes to WoW, there's a lot of things that I think that players, they hold on to when it comes to, I guess, a good, solid, all around lore experience. They hold on to it, and that's the only thing they play. And so why should we simultaneously go, okay, you got this thing, it was important then, and then go, never again will we do anything significant with that. We're only going to focus on the main trio, orcs, humans, and then I don't know, Tauren a little bit in there, I guess, and dwarves. So I guess the main thing is when it comes down to it, I think the memes are continuing. They're pushing really hard. It's you see stuff like this. This allied race discussion recently, third dwarf race. It says third troll race. So it says, let me play as player housing. Body type plays a big part. 3 troll races, but they all have different skeletons, 3 dwarf types, and they are all the same animations and body types. That is why people are not as much up in arms. If each dwarf race had their own animations and different body types, rather than just scale, you would see a different reaction. Honestly, I think Dark Iron Dwarf was solid because of the lore that goes behind Dark Iron Dwarf, and that's why I like playing Dark Iron Dwarf so much. But I do understand, like it's like there is slight differences, and the zones being significantly changed is important. Another thing is why not, when we have events that have or are in certain areas, can we just focus on a particular allied race? I think there's going to be an event either coming up or soon in regards to the Dark Iron. So why not just have something specifically for them? Because it leads to the question of, is having an allied race significant out of a purely optimal like efficiency standpoint. Not really. Not really. There's not a lot holding people to, I guess any sort of significance to that. So a lot of people have put things like this make the Ammani playable. It says the real Ammani. No to Greenskin Darkspear. Agreed. That's just the laziest thing ever. It says you want to stay here, you stay forever. So I like the Magar. They were more deserving. I like that the Magar were more deserving of being an allied race as opposed to the Ammani. Volpira beating Ammani trolls and ogres to the punch in being an allied race made me feel sad. And the Sethrak. Yeah, a lot of people have said ogres. A lot of people have said Murlocs. A lot of people have said Naga. I think if we're looking at what at a base that people want, I think they want allied races that are significantly different from the previous. So if we're being honest, not to diminish anyone's particular experience with an allied race, I think what needs to happen is current allied races, if you're able to group them with another race like High Mountain Tauren to Tauren, Magar Orc to Orc, Mecha Gnome to Gnome, I think we need to condense all those down so the creation menu doesn't look so crazy. All right. And then we start implementing allied races that have significant differences. Mainly the NPCs that I think that we've seen for so long that people connect with so much. Because right now, as much as the Haronier does seem interesting, I do like the custom appearances, especially for Druid. I think it is, no matter how you look at it, somewhat lazy. It is a copy. It is based off something. Yes, they have different lore and backgrounds. I get that. I'm not dismissing that. But at the same time, I think we visually, they just don't seem as appealing to everybody. Because you go, well, I've always played Night Elf, or I've always played Tauren or High Mountain Tauren. Like I don't feel like switching for just a slight appearance. So I hope, so something that this next one says is, I hope we're going to move away from allied new races after midnight and start updating and improving already existing races. The entire allied race additions to the game starts to feel like redundant. Most new races never capture the essence of the biggest base races. The only exception is Void Elf, who essentially are just Blood Elf for the Alliance, whereas Nightborn, Night Elf for the Horde, has way less options and customization options in contrast. The new Diamond Dwarves are really boring addition to the game, and Drakthir was a failure on so many levels it would deserve an entire post in itself, like the one I did 15. This guy's post, he's like, I hate this. I don't think Drakthir is necessarily bad as a class, or evokers are necessarily bad as a class. I just think Drakthir has had a lot of misses in the customization and transmog department from the community that has made it to where it's hard to avoid it's hard to avoid that it's a main reason why people aren't going to play Evoker. If people don't enjoy it and don't feel like it's enjoyable, it's not going to increase the numbers. And you can tell me all day and night that, oh no, it is popular, you're lying. Look at a graph. Listen, okay. All right. So let's look at it. Blood Elf on top. Okay. Pandaren, Earthen, Mechanome, Pandaren, Kultiran, High Mountain Tauren so low. Oh no. Lightforge, Draena, Goblin, Drakthir. Oh wait, where's Drakthir Horde? Drakthir Horde. Dark Iron Dwarf is low too. Oh man, I like Dark Iron Dwarf too. But look, as far as our allied races, we got Earthen, Mechanome, Kultiran, High Mountain Tauren, Lightforge, Draenei. Let's see. Before we hit Goblin, which isn't a popular one. Let's keep going till we hit a popular one. Let's keep going. Magar Orc 6, Dark Iron Dwarf 7, Volpira 8, Zandalari Troll 9. First one's Draenei. So you can't tell me that these are like a breakout success, that they're working. So I don't think there's a real purpose to keeping up this trend as much as people are going to go, whoa, how about this particular race get some love? I will agree that we should increase customization for the classic races and then sort of combine into like it just being, this is what Tauren are. You can have this appearance, and then maybe you can choose between the racial ability. Maybe that would be like sort of like the way to meet in the middle between the two. But I think right now, a lot of people are in this boat where it says races you want to see instead of the slightly different versions of current races. So let's list what races you think would be better than what we currently got. My list is short but impactful. Murlocs, humanoids, or Murlocs, humanoid. Loved, and they have been here since the beginning. Ethereals, humanoid, cool looking. They've been in the game since TBC, maybe sooner. Tuskar, humanoid, fat seals, awesome, and have been in the game since Lich King, I think. Nagas would be awesome, but the lack of legs make them harder in terms of leg and feet armor, unless they just make those not appear at all. Like you can use like you can pre-mount yourself. You just gotta like prepare to slither, I guess. Any other long-lived race with a background. Okay, so Ian pretty much confirmed we wouldn't have a new race for a long while in the latest Q&A, so I wouldn't be holding on hope too much. I love to see the Ethereals playable and the Ammani. There are a few other races that have unique visual identities. I'm so sad that they didn't make Ethereals for 11.2. We need more visual distinctive races like Volpira. Even if the lore backing was deficient, they're not recolor a slight tweak of another race. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what we need to talk about as well. Is if the thought is there's not enough lore on it, I guarantee there is so much lore behind even the most basic of NPCs that we don't get to fully see, or that you may not fully know of just because it spans across so many expansions. Or secondarily, how many things have been retconned? We can't retcon a simple race storyline. It seems like if I were to say like what's the next like playable race, if we're going to go back into it, it's going to be making another human allied race, and it's going to be the Arathi. It's going to be, we're going to be able to I guess start off there. That's how we're going to go into like human race factions, I guess. But point of it all, and I guess I want to end with this with the question, is what do you think would be a significant and or solid allied race to add to this game? What do you feel like is missing that we could definitely add, change? What are your opinions of current allied races? Should things stay separate? Should we just update current things? To me, it's a bit of a cluster is the main thing. So hope you enjoyed the video. Give this a video a like if you liked it. Subscribe to the page while you're at it. Without further ado, that's all I got for today. Catch you in the next one. Peace.